Food's great. I miss it like every day. They're not super into processed sugar, so you don't get a lot of that. The gelato's great. It's so good, and it's like €1. You get it like every day. It's really bad, but it's really good. I love Slovenians. The interesting thing that happened to me is like the longer I was in the country, the more I realized that I was like really one of them. You know, sometimes it's hard for them to like let you in the beginning, but once they decide to let you in, they let you in like all the way, and they just love you. And there's just so much culture and tradition there that I don't feel like you get in the States, just because they have so much history and they know it and they just love it. And I just really love about them how health oriented they are. It's really about, you know, natural foods and keeping yourself healthy. You know, they have this saying like an empty cup can't fill another cup, right? Like you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And that's definitely something that I learned from their culture. Like it's okay, you know, to take time for yourself, because you're not going to help anyone if you're not taking care of yourself. There's a lot of cafes, you know, a lot of the people that work maybe work in Germany or Austria, you know, and travel, or they have something local, just because the countries are so close. And there's a lot of jobs in Austria, which isn't too far away. Especially if you serve in Maribor, like a lot of them will be traveling that way. In the summer, a lot of them just go on vacation to Croatia, and you don't really know they're going, and then they're gone, and you're like, where did they go? And then they just needed to take that time, you know, to go to the coast, which is great. Love it. They just really care like about where they're from, and they just really care about the language. Like even the fact that you're trying to speak their language, it really means a lot to them. I just love the way that they live their life. You know, the open air markets, they go get like fresh food. They're just more like relaxed in that way. But on the other hand, like the things they do care about, they really care a lot about. It's kind of like this fusion of that region where you have the German and Austrian influence and like the Italian influence, and it's just all kind of like meshing. And then you have like the Slovenian language, which is very like precise and, you know, detail oriented. I feel like that really reflects the way that they think. And obviously there's some kickback from the wars and stuff that happened so recently there that it can be hard, but they're great people. I love them. A lot of the fast food is like Turkish influence. So there's things like kebab, super good. So they have like this giant turning wheel of meat, and they just like shave it off, and then they like put it in this little like pita, and they put lettuce and onions and stuff. So good. But like what Slovenes actually cook, like it's more, you know, German kind of Austrian influence, especially the closer you get to the border. So like I've had blood sausage, you know, those kinds of things. If a Slovene invites you over for dinner, just know that you're going to be there for a long time. They really love talking. So obviously I fit in pretty well, and they'll just go like, and it's great. But they usually have like a soup and then a salad and then a meat course and then like some sort of, you know, fruit or something. They're not super big on like sweet desserts. They do have dessert, but it's not like frosting and cake, you know, or pie or anything. And then, of course, the pastries, like, and the bakeries. So the bakeries in Slovenia are called pekarnas, and, oh, they're so good. So they have borek, which is like, so it's kind of a pastry. It's wrapped in like a very thin phyllo dough. And it's filled with like meat or cheese, or I think at Mlinar you can get like a potato one, and they might have like an apple one at Mlinar, but like it's really good. I love burek. I mean, they have strudel, krof, which is like a donut, but it's more like bread. It's like a roll almost, and then it's like filled with like jam. So over there, like all the time you get krof, it's like if you're going to get the jam one or the marmalade one, like it's apricot. It's always apricot. Like Except maybe on one of the holidays they might have plum, I've heard, but I haven't found it. So like it's like whenever you get jam, it's always apricot jam, which I found was like really interesting. I love it, but it was just interesting that it's like always that one instead of like raspberry or apple or, you know, something you would think. And then the juice. So they have like every type of juice you could like ever want. It's so great. And they have this thing called za water, which is like flavored water, and it's really good. You can get it at the grocery store. It's like not even a big deal. And then the feta cheese, I really like fell in love with because it's cheaper over there, and like, so maybe like €2 as opposed to like, I was just trying to find it here and it's like $7. I was like, I don't think that's gonna work out. So palatine is like a crepe, but it's just like really good, and it's really easy to make, you know, and so you learn how to make palatine pretty quickly, and they have them there, and especially in Celje they have like a stand where they just like make them and you can get them. I definitely miss the food a lot. It's just like, it's just different. It's just so different. So like on the holidays they make this bread. It's like a bread. It's called petitsa. It's like, you make it for like Easter, Christmas, and it's made out of like walnuts, and it's like swirled. It's pretty like heavy bread. Like it takes a long time to make it, but all the Slovenes like know how to cook. So it works out well. Their parents just teach them, I assume, and they just like learn it because they don't really use recipes. They just kind of like go for it. That's great. Wish I could cook like that. If you're learning Slovene, it really is a detail-oriented language. It's very precise, so if you're like into math or things like that, I feel like it probably would help you. Most Slovene speakers can understand Croatian, but not all Croatians can understand Slovene. What's interesting about Slovene, they actually take a lot of pride in this, is that it has something called dual. And so in a normal language, you'd conjugate the verb, right? Like I am, you know, we are, right? It's an irregular in English, but it'll work. So you would say in Slovene, like I am, we two are, we three or more are. And so those three verbs are different. Like you conjugate them differently depending on if there's one person, two people, or three or more. And then depending on what gender, you would case the noun. And so we do have cases. There's 6 of them, and each one of them, it's depending on like the word chair. If the word chair is ending in a certain letter, then it's feminine, masculine, funny feminine, which is just irregular, and then neuter. So you have to know like the base word and then figure out if it's which gender it is, and then figure out if it's 1 chair, 2 chairs, 3 or more chairs, and then you put a specific letter depending on what case it's in. So like if it's a noun, if it's an object in the sentence, or if it's like to the chair or with the chair, those are all different things. So it can be frustrating, like because you have to think, okay, how many chairs is it? What gender is the chair? What part of the sentence is chair in? Okay, I'm like ready to go, you know? Once you learn the language enough, it's very precise and you can say exactly what you want to say. And it's just a beautiful language. It's not as harsh as Russian. It flows better, I feel like. So I first served in Ljubljana. There is a significant amount of tourists in the summer just because it is the capital. Every city has a castle, so that's fun. For like soccer, Ljubljana and Maribor are like not friends. So that's good to know. Ljubljana's color is green. They have like, each area has like a little flag. So it's called the City of Dragons. They have like Dragon Bridge. It's like these bunch of statues with dragons on it, which is really fun. Everybody has a dog. People like to rollerblade in the summer. If you're a girl, you can't like sit on a cold bench in the middle of winter or else you like won't have children. It's called like prepi. You can't like open the window or else there'll be like wind and you'll get sick. Like, so that's why they don't have air conditioning. Like, it's just a lot of, like, I shouldn't be wearing my jacket inside, like, because when I go outside, it's going to be colder to me. So I should always like take my jacket off. Like you can't like be barefoot on wood floors. Like you have to wear those little shoes. Like just a bunch of like fun stuff. I served in Maribor. Maribor is like so different than Loop. They have really good ice cream, like the best ice creams in Maribor. So you just have to wait for the summer like to go because it's so good. And roasted chestnuts. Like if you get roasted chestnuts in any of the cities, it's so good. But yeah, Maribor, and they also have like the best kebab. And they used to have this place, I don't know if they still have it, and it was run by this Ukrainian lady, and it was called Chimney Cakes. And they put like this dough around a rolling pin and like roll it in whatever you want, and then stick it in the fire or whatever, and you take it out. And it was so crazy. The first time we went, she takes it out of there and she's just talking. She's like this sweet lady, and she just like bangs it on the table, and the cake separates from like the rolling pin thing, and then it's like this little perfect spiral of like yummy goodness. But it was so funny because she's just like, oh no, I'm like from Ukraine, and it'll bam, and it just like fell off. Oh, it was great. But yeah, definitely ice cream and kebab in Maribor. You're gonna want to get it. I served last in Celje. It's like the cutest town ever.